Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Morning Hunt. I am Brian, and this is Gator Traders Morning Hunt. This is our first episode in quite a little while. We've had to take a break because of work, hurricanes, and everything else, but the hunt will be coming back daily starting next week, or just about daily. There'll be some times that has some scheduling crises and whatnot, but for the most part, we'll be here just about every day. There's a lot to talk about today. Mainly is going to be the troubles that we're having in the major indexes like the SPY, the NASDAQ, and so on and so forth. The futures are tumbling. We have the Dow futures are down 1.5%, S&P futures 1.3% down, the NASDAQ 1% down, oil is 1.99% down, and the 10-year bonds are even down a little bit right now, not a whole lot. This is being led on by a major, I don't know, capitulation or whatever you want to call it in the Evergrande in China. And on top of that, we've just been talking about this happening since June here at Gator Traders. We've been talking about a S&P correction or crash coming sometime in the September-October timeframe. We've been talking about that as early as June on the website, my heavily neglected website. I'm going to get back to blogging next week too, so I'm really excited about that because writing is actually my favorite thing to do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start our hunt through the headlines. Thank you to one of my members for making this awesome little gift for me for this. So, all right, let's get into it. So first off, we have the Dow futures tumble more than 500 points as the September slide intensifies. I kind of like the name. They were pretty clever and crafty with the name. I like that. The Hang Seng index drops more than 3% as Evergrande shares plunge. And they did. They actually plunged. They're down like 80% so far total for the year. If the 2014 Fed taper is any guide, it's time for investors to get defensive. Well, that's an understatement. We should definitely be getting defensive as investors right now. There's a lot to be defensive about. Just about everything that any of us are invested in are getting punched in the gut. So this isn't helping any. We're starting to have breakdowns with major allies because we're playing games over who gets to buy whose submarine and whatnot. France is a little bit upset because Australia was supposed to buy a sub from them and instead decided to buy American tech, good old made in the USA stuff. And it was backed by the UK. So we got our little French friends over there a little bit upset and hissy about this. Might not be a big deal overall, but they did pull ambassadors back from the U.S., which is a pretty stern diplomatic move, I guess. The debt crunch. Well, this guy. We'll talk about the debt crunch for Evergrande in just a minute. Don't really care about Toyota's 2022 Toyota or Tundra pickup truck. Let's see. Upgrades underperforming. Colgate, Palmolive. Yep, don't care. China's embattled developer Evergrande is on the brink of default. Here's why it matters. This is one of the largest property developers in the world, okay? And this is an article worth reading to kind of understand how this means. These guys are in $300 billion worth of debt, and some of this is because of regulatory issues going over there in China. Communism is great. Communism is awesome. It's awesome to be a business owner in a communist country. So we have... this isn't just affecting China. These people have... or this business has property holdings worldwide, and this could lead to some ripples going on throughout the entire market. This is something definitely worth watching. It's going to affect banks, home buyers, and investors, suppliers. Who else? Yeah, that's it. Is it too big to fail? Apparently not. Nothing is too big to fail. The Titanic wasn't too big to fail. It's sitting on the bottom of the ocean. So with that said, just keep an eye on what's going on with the Chinese stocks. They are, it's a huge market. Huge market represents a significant portion of the world's population over there. Definitely worth keeping an eye on it and understand that it's going to have an impact on what goes on over here, just like whenever our stock slide, it has an impact over there. Elon Musk mocks President Biden after SpaceX completes a first all-civilian mission. This is actually embarrassing as a country. This is a national embarrassment. We shouldn't be proud that some boy billionaire, a Bruce Wayne wannabe, is able to put people in space in our own country has stopped. This is a professional embarrassment to the United States, or a national embarrassment rather, but a huge accomplishment for Elon Musk. Fauci defends the FDA panel. Don't really care what that idiot says because he's more flaky than cornflakes itself. U.S. opens probe into 30 million vehicles over airbag inflators. Don't get into a wreck, at least not until the recall, okay? Just good advice here. Evergrande collapse could have a domino effect. Yes, we already talked about that. Thank you. Goldman Sachs picks 10 Chinese chip stocks, some with over 50% upside. I probably wouldn't look into Chinese stocks right now. Just saying. Ted Lasso, The Crown, and The Queen's Gambit win top awards at the 73rd Emmy Awards. Yeah, if I could short them, I would. We need to stop inside the world's first diplomatic alliance to keep oil and gas in the ground. Well, if y'all would go ahead and support my GVO investment or my CWSFF investment, then we wouldn't have that problem. So I don't want to hear anything about it. It's not like, if I can learn about it, certainly they have. U.S. removes migrants from Texas border camp, begins flights to Haiti. That is probably pleasant. After Merkel, France could try to edge out Germany as Europe's superpower. I don't really care. A lot of this stuff doesn't have anything to do with the stocks at all this morning. Former K-pop star, don't care. Russian college shooting kills at least 8. It's a tragedy. I don't want to say I don't care. It is a tragedy, so my prayers go out to those families. But that's not really what I need in my stock market news right now. How companies can make their remote working inclusive for the deaf and the blind. Honestly, that might be an interesting read. We're not going to get into it right now, but this is something I'm going to circle back to as soon as I'm done recording to see if there's any investment opportunities in that. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. I hadn't thought about that before. We got some TradingView stuff going up. Tilray shut down its OG factory to make space for growth. I haven't really checked in the details of this, but if you're in TLRY, I know where a lot of retail investors are. That would be worth reading into. To get to that, you just come to TradingView, get on their daily news, and you can see all these things. Ford feels the heat. Talking about electronic vehicles right here, electronic trucks. AMD is trying to get at ARM-based chips. Alipay gets backed by a U.S. bank. That's probably pretty good because Baba's been they had a murder on their share price not too long ago. Tesla tackles data security concerns. Move over Tesla. Lucid Motors jumped 5%. Worth looking into Lucid Motors. We're not going to on the hunt this morning, but I'll be checking it out throughout the day today. Let's see. I don't know why I'm getting blown up on my Discord over here, but we'll check that out, see if there's anything. Nope, had nothing to do with me. Coinbase jumps into crypto derivatives. That's going to be huge. That's probably going to cost a lot of people a lot of money because they don't understand what they're doing with regular share options, much less highly volatile crypto options. But this is going to be something that we're going to be playing around with here in the near future on Gator Traders. For more information about Gator Traders and what we do in the premium services and whatnot, you can visit www.gator-traders.com. It has a link to join the Discord. My website is neglected with some outdated articles on it right now. We'll be getting back to updating that and blogging regularly here in the near future. There you can sign up for the free newsletter, and you can get updates just about weekly from Gator Traders. The newsletters are coming back this weekend as well, now that life has settled down a little bit. Ford's hiring new people, a slap on the wrist from South Korea towards Google with only a minor little $177 million fine. That's like a speeding ticket for Google. Meme stocks move in support of AMC. I haven't checked any meme stocks yet this morning to see how they're doing. Let's see, anything else going on? No, this is getting a little bit old. So we are going to go into the charts. Let me get all set up over here with my screens. And we are good to go. First thing I want to look at is going to be the S&P 500. These are the same blue lines that I've had on here for a long time. We have a 200 HMA volume profile. 200 HMA is going to be our little squiggly line that you'll see moving through on all these stocks. The volume profile is going to be this assortment of bars over here. We have just the traditional volume with the with a 20-period moving average here at the bottom of the chart, and we have the RSI with the 50 SMA moving average study added to it. That's going to be our introduction to everything that we have going on, and of course trend lines, Fibonacci retracements, pitchforks, and whatever else is clever for that particular chart. So far, the S&P 500, I've been just the other day I talked about the SPY was going to at least 437. It is now at 435, so my bearish position on the SPY looks pretty good right now. It's already past price target 1. It's heading on to price target 2, which is going to be at about 425.70. Right now it doesn't have any strength whatsoever. It's broken down below the 50 line on the RSI, and the volume is actually surging with the downside move. That's not exactly what you want to see. This isn't a low volume pullback. This is a high volume slaughter. NDX doesn't tell a different story at all. Of course, we're not going to have volume on the NDX, but we are going to be able to look into the what's going on with the NASDAQ 100. And right now it has broken down below. We don't have any pre-market data available for it just yet, but it has broken down below the 200 HMA. If you're not familiar with moving averages and how they work, they're a trend indicator to give you an idea of a stock strength relative to a certain period of time with whatever formula is used to make up the moving average. The whole moving average is probably the fastest out of all of them. It's definitely the fastest one that I know about. There may be one that's faster that doesn't have as much lag time, but that's another story for another day. And I'll be releasing a series to really introduce you to the to moving averages and all that here publicly on YouTube in the next couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to getting into production of that. As we're talking about the same story goes here with the RSI. It's slipping down below that 50 line, so it's moving into bearish territory. It's underneath the moving average on that as well. So there's not a bullish story here in the NASDAQ at all. Apple would be a good representative of what's going on in both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, and its pre-market is down below what would be, let me see, no, it hasn't reached what I would consider a price target 1. My fib's upside down on this, so let me go ahead and flip that over for us. Let's flip it. There we go. Sometimes that happens. So it hasn't made it officially to what I would consider a price target 1 for a short seller or for puts or anything like that yet, but it isn't showing very many signs of strength. Same story with the RSI. It's down below that 50, down below the moving average, also below the whole the 200 whole moving average. So there's not really much good going on here. It's moving into this low volume node in the volume profile, and that's showing us that there's not a lot of support in these levels insofar as volume is concerned. Again, we're also seeing a high volume surge to the downside, not a low volume pullback. There's a big difference. There's a level of conviction with that. So we're seeing panic in the market, especially in these mega caps and large caps. ExxonMobil's actually faring a little bit better. It did have that surging volume with that last bar, with a lot of selling pressure on this bar, and it is down in pre-market. But this isn't just a huge jump over the 20 average, which is going to be that shaded area going in behind my bars here. It is once again, it's moving into a low volume node just like Apple was. So we're not expecting to see a whole lot of support in this area till about the $52 range. Same kind of deal going on here, except it is above the moving average as far as the momentum is concerned. So if it can maintain a position above that moving average, then it could see a bounce back to the top side. And we know that the winter time is strong for energy-based stocks, for oil, for coal, things like that, nuclear energy, whatever. Because of heating issues. You know, people need to heat their houses up so they don't turn into popsicles. So we might see a little bit more strength in the energy companies overall, but again, there's not a whole lot of strength being shown over here. It is below that HMA 200. Okay, and this is one of the moving averages that I actually trust and like is the whole moving average. I don't use the simple moving averages very much at all, or the moving average exponentials or whatever. Looking at gold, it is up a little bit today so far in pre-market. It's not, I say pre-market, this is the actual spot price, so it's not really a pre-market time. But anyway, it is moving up a little bit. It's got this interesting little structure going on here. We don't have any momentum in this move, and it is below the 200 HMA. It's in one of those lower volume areas as far as that's concerned. And for whatever reason, the volume bars on this in Trading View get screwed up. It's just zero, but it has all of this going on over here. I don't know what's up with it, but whatever. I trust the chart. The chart right now is telling me that if you are in gold, hold. If you're in gold, hold, but be ready to sell if it breaks down below this 1740 spot price, because that would be confirmation of a potential bear flag setting up on this in this movement in the market. Next up is going to be crypto. A lot of people love crypto a lot. It has gotten slaughtered. It's broken a local trend line right here. It should have been used as support. So now we're starting to see it starting to walk its way down. This could be interpreted as some type of head and shoulders pattern, and we'll see that in the other crypto tickers that we look at. I actually have it marked out on one of them so you can see exactly what I'm talking about with that. It is still above that 200 HMA, so that could act as a form of dynamic support, and there's a ton of volume in this area. Now prices have slipped down to the edge of this, and it's moving towards that canyon where we might not find very much support at all. We'll have to see. But right now I'm looking at a possible support for crypto to be at around this area right here, that $1.83 trillion. That's a huge, ridiculous amount of money. But I'm looking for support to be at around here, just as far as hiccups in this trend over here. Really and truly, we need to be looking at areas like this, back down in this area in the market. Let's see, probably about right here. Yeah, somewhere up in this area right here in this range. We should be looking for support somewhere in here if this breaks. Okay, this has to break obviously before it gets down here and test this, but I would be looking for a significant pullback in crypto to be possible over the next few days. Don't know if it will, but it's certainly possible. Bitcoin is going to be up next. We're going to go to the king of the coins, as far as price is concerned anyway. And the same kind of story going on with Total, of course, right? Total's going to have a huge, be influenced big time by crypto. Total, TOTAL, is a market cap, total market cap for the cryptoverse. So we're seeing that Bitcoin chart really and truly looks the same. We have a few more hiccups. We have a little bit different volume profile, and of course we actually have volume in this. With that said, it is in a decent spot. It is close to area that the market doesn't like the price at all, so we can expect it to either reject out of this area or free fall through it. You never know which one whenever you're coming up to these things, but the RSI can give you some clues into that. Again, it's below a 50, so it's showing bearish momentum. It's below that moving average, and you're starting to see, and this is actually going to be considered somewhat of a low volume pullback. It is moving with less volume than what is the current average. Ethereum is also taking a dive, and this is where I have that head and shoulders set up at. This is a pretty abstract interpretation of a head and shoulders pattern. I understand that for those of you who are a little bit more have a higher level of prowess with technical analysis. This is a little bit of an abstract interpretation, but it does seem to check the boxes. We have the same kind of stuff going on here volume-wise. You're not seeing a surge or a pickup in volume to confirm the pattern. That would be the only missing element. Again, we're in right on the edge of a low volume area. That seems to be a common theme in the market right now. And we have no momentum on the RSI. These are all daily charts, by the way, all linear scale. I forgot to mention that earlier. ADA, this is my little favorite play in the crypto world. It is back to just above my average, so it might be time to do some cost averaging, dollar cost averaging tactics. I am planning on holding this no matter what and adding to it weekly. I like the long-term future of ADA. I'm not going to sit here and scalp in and out of it or whatever. I'm just going to go ahead and hold. Right now it is sitting on what should be a pretty significant zone of support. That's verified by price action. It is one of those low volume areas, so I'm expecting it to potentially try to reject out of it. Overall, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Okay, so under the 200 HMA, it broke through a major trend line, well-validated trend line. And it is same story going on in the RSI. No sense in repeating that. Moving on to the Russell 2000. Okay, this has been an absolute nightmare of sideways volatility here lately. And if I zoom out of the chart, you can see what I'm talking about, where there's an obvious channel of support and resistance here at the top and the bottom. And it's been moving along inside of that. It hasn't really done anything special as far as this low volume pullback. And that gives me a theory that the small caps may be a little bit more resilient to what's going on in the market than the major caps and major mega caps, and large caps that you'll see in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 and the DJI and so on and so forth. That gives me hope that some of my little high risk small cap positions might actually survive and go on to have maybe a little bit of bullish movement. Now, I'm not seeing in that in the charts that I have pulled up or set up for us to go into in just a minute, but they're not really looking all that bad either. They're just looking stagnant, and quite frankly, I'd rather stagnant over a murder in some of these things that I'm holding. There's ways that you can make money in a sideways market, and we're talking about that right now in the Gator Traders Premium Discord, going over ways to make money in sideways markets, and a lot of that's coming from wisdom imparted by partners like Jerry over at the Money Vikings. If you want to learn more about the Money Vikings, please visit https://moneyvikings.com. They are great when it comes to some unorthodox ways for you to make money and investment strategies outside of the stock market, as well as stock market tips and alerts. We'll go into embattled microvision. We've seen it trade inside of a sideways range for a while, and you can see that with the yellow lines that I have brought up on the screen here. I do have a pitchfork set up. It's kind of measuring what's going on with the momentum. This is a modified shift pitchfork set off of this vibration in the market, this movement in the market. And we are seeing microvision at its lows for, in pre-market, it's at its lows from the previous day, which is Friday in our case. I'm looking for it to potentially tag this area at around 1222 and hold that as support. Now, there are many different interpretations of where support's going to be in this highly volatile nightmare of a small cap stock. I'm looking particularly hard at 976. This is something that I said back in February, that we could revisit 976 at some period of time, and really and truly we've had a pretty steady sideways movement since then, and we've come really close to it, as you can see from my crosshairs. Being just below some of those candles. That was a hidden bearish divergence at one point in time on the chart. It still is if we were to go back and chart it. And we've never revisited that price target. So I don't know if we will. I'm not saying that we will. I'm saying that it is a possibility to be prepared for. But for it to get down that low, it has to break through that 1222 area first. And there's some confluence of techniques showing that being a decent level of support. RSI is below a 50. It is below the moving average. It is below the 200 HMA. So it doesn't have a huge bullish story going on right now. If you get into some EMAs and things like that, you can find it where it's resting on support. I forget at which level. I would have to go back and actually check that. FCell is a play that I like getting in and out of a lot. Made some good calls on it this year and last year. It had a great breakout after last Monday. I think it was last Monday. Yeah, I think that's about right. But it's come down from that nice little run. If you can see here, once you get it zoomed in a little bit, had a nice little run, came down, tons of selling pressure, and it's been moving towards that area of selling pressure right here at the 50% Fibonacci retracement line, which is just set from those two dots there. It's above the 200 HMA. That's the first time I think I got to say that all day today, all morning. And it has a bullish RSI setup. I like what FCell is doing right now. Now, it is down a little bit in pre-market, but it hasn't even made it to the low point of Friday's candle. Looking for support to be pretty much at or around current levels, give or take. For looking for support, I'm actually going to be digging into this candle body here and using the open, low, high, and close for levels of potential support going on right here, right now. It's pretty much tagging that high area from Friday's candle, using that as support here in pre-market. It'd be interesting to see how it's going to hold up. I do have calls sold against this against my long position here, just in case this thing wants to stagnate out. I can just collect a little bit of money on the premiums, some of that sideways stuff that I was talking about. We have Genius. I had anticipated this breakout to be larger than it was. Yes, it did break out long-term logarithmic resistance here, but it didn't do anything special at all. It has a crossover going on between the moving average on RSI, so that's giving us a little bit of a bullish, trying to give us a little bit of a bullish story. But we have to see if that's going to hold because it is down in pre-market. Same kind of story going on here. I do have support here locally. Coming from, validated through a couple of different points, and it looks like it could be set to pretty much do nothing again. And I'm okay with that because I have a long position here and I sold calls against that as well. So worst comes to worst, I make about $3 per share if this thing decides to rip and run. If not, then I strangle it out and make the premium. I'm okay with that. Either way, I'm okay with it. It's down below the 200 HMA though, so I'm not seeing a bullish story just yet. I want to see it pop up above that 200 HMA, and I want to see that 200 start to curl up because that means that it's been sustained action. Looking at the pitchfork, it is failing to meet the center of the pitchfork, which is giving me another indication that this thing might want to try to go up, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see what comes because the market conditions overall are bad. And finally, moving into a couple of OTC stocks that Penny Queen and Gator Traders and quite a few other people are following pretty heavily. We're going to go into DPLS first. DPLS has been it got completely and totally rejected out of this supply zone, and it's came down. It's sitting on a 786 Fibonacci level right now. And that Fibonacci is set between these 2 points if you want to mirror it on your chart where the dots just popped up. It's below that 200 HMA. Again, we have relatively poor setup on the RSI, but you are seeing evidence of it trying to do some higher highs and higher lows. We don't have a higher high yet, but we do have higher lows. If it can get some bullish action in here today, then we could see a higher high form on the RSI and get ready to challenge that momentum shift, that all-important momentum shift at the 50 line. Next up, CWSFF. This is where the CEO got on camera and decided to eat his foot for investors, made some stupid comments, and slaughtered the share price. It was absolutely an irresponsible move on his part, and I hope that that message gets to him that you, sir, said stupid things. CWSFF overall is making a decent run at trying to recover. Again, this is OTC, so you're not going to see a whole lot of movement, if any at all, ever in pre-market. It is in what used to be a demand zone, so this is actually going to be resistance now. So we can change that color. This is going to be a zone of resistance now. It needs to pop up over about 65 cents or so to get out of that. That'll clear the center line of the underlying geometry of the market, as evidenced by that pitchfork, and push it on up to potentially challenge that 200 HMA. That's if it can get out of this red box. If. New Lux is something that I am not in, but some of my members are. Again, Gator Traders and Penny Queen, we go way back. So we have some people that are in on this Penny Queen alert right now. There's not really much that we can do technically with this chart. But looking at it from my perspective, the main thing I'm seeing here is going to be a potential for an ascending triangle or descending. I always get them mixed up. Not because the words ascending and descending are difficult, but there are so many different interpretations of patterns that it's kind of hard to keep up with it. But I am looking at this right here where we have lower highs, but we have stagnant sideways lows. We could potentially see a breakout here in New Lux, but I am not thinking that it's going to happen. We have a very, very poor RSI rating with it kicking around a 37 right now. 50 is what's needed for it to be considered bullish momentum or bullish movement. So right now it's definitely got bearish movement. That's evidenced by the lower highs. I'm not liking the setup in NWLX at all. Now that we've got all out of the way, let's go ahead and turn to, let me see. We have anything going on in the chats? Not so much. Not so much. All right, so just give you an update on, and we'll look at a couple other things here in just a minute, but just give you an update on what's going on with the morning hunt. I've been in a turnaround at work with a hurricane, and we actually started the morning hunt whenever, early because of my wife getting COVID. So I'm still at a turnaround. I go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, and I'm finally off on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So we will start having more regular morning hunts going into next week. Along with that, like I said, there'll be the return of our beloved newsletters, the paid one and the free one, as well as some more video production here going on YouTube. So I'm looking forward to getting back into that. Let's take a look at a couple of stocks that were tickers that might be impactful today. And I'm just kind of going off of memory right here, just seeing what everything looks like. Microsoft's down, have a nice little Fibonacci set up. It's down below the 200 HMA. It still maintains a bullish RSI as of right now, above a 50. So Microsoft can weather the storm. I'd be looking for that pullback to come potentially to the 290 area, which would be a 50% pullback from these two dots that just popped up. That's where my fib is set to right now. Let's look at Caterpillar. Oh, that's not how to do that. Look at Cat, and we'll look at one other one. I'm wondering if am I doing any short swing trading? RGCG just asked that. Yes, I am. Good morning to everybody who said good morning over here in the chats. Look at Cat real quick. Bearish setup overall. Getting slaughtered pre-market. It's down $5 a share right now, pre-market. So not going to find anything there. Surf was something that was interesting the other day. Let's see if it's still interesting. And it is up pre-market. Surf is up pre-market. So you day traders out there, you swing traders out there, this thing may gap up at the open. You may have some serious volatility to the upside or the downside. I'm looking at Surf being something that could potentially move. So you might be able to surf a wave on into profitability. It is finding serious resistance as far as momentum is concerned here, and well, we put that one there. This goes back to the inside pivot of this area here in this market structure. So it's giving us an idea that there's a strong level of resistance here, and we see all of this going on in the volume profile. So we have a bunch of resistance. If it overcomes that resistance at about, let's move my chart so I can actually see. Let's see. There we go, 747. If it can clear 747, then it looks like we might be able to have a run up to 792, 792. So surf looks pretty decent as a setup overall, and I'd be looking for a potential bullish run going on into this. Another one that was mentioned by a premium member is a D-SPAC play, D-SPAC, ReSPAC. It is down in pre-market right now. This is a fundamental play more so than it is a technical one. Right now, it is not. It's pretty neutral overall. Technically, it's not really doing anything crazy. I'm not a fan of this candle, even though it is an inside bar. We could potentially see a reversal, an upside down, or an upside movement outside of this area. For it to be super bullish, though, for it to be crazy bullish, it has to break 998. I like the fundamentals that are posted in both the Chartology and Gator Traders Premium areas on this. Let's see. Takata, let's see. Franco, if you can give me a ticker on the Takata, Takata. Yeah, if you give me a ticker on that, we can look into it. SDC, Smile Direct. It's been crazy here lately. It gapped up. It's actually running in pre-market. Let's get rid of this. Actually, we can leave it. Just manipulate it a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. There we go. So it's actually at a 200% from its breakout. It had a nice little linear breakout going on here off of a local one, and it's bounced up really well from that. Yeah, this is a huge movement. I would be looking for a potential downside here, but it can run a little bit more and find some resistance up here around that 70 line. But just look at the line on my crosshairs here, and this is showing a possible resistance to momentum going on right here. But it's a nice bullish setup as far as everything else goes. Look for a potential pullback. I don't look for a reversal in SDC. I would just look for a pullback, maybe get another entry in on it, or even play to the downside on a lower time frame chart. APRE. Typing it on the wrong box. Over here, it would actually do something. APRE. APRE is rocking pre-market. This is a free alert from Gator Traders from last week, and it is absolutely screaming right now. I'm thinking that it can move as high as whatever this is at 641, 640, whatever. I'm thinking it can go as high as that. It's almost there, but from my original call out, we are sitting at a 16% move up. Actually, no, the entry would be, yeah, about a 16% move up. So APRE is looking great pre-market. So we got a good bullish case going on here. If we were to dive into a lower time frame chart and look at it, we're seeing the selling pressure was absolutely just crunched right here. And there's still a battle going on for another 26 minutes. This candle's very young, but I'm looking at potential really big time dynamic support going on here with the 200 HMA. Price is getting relatively close to that. You have seen a crossover, or a cross under rather, of price or momentum under the moving average here on the RSI, and it's coming to that all-important 50 level. So we're going to want to see it hold that 50 zone, pop back up here on the low time frame chart on the 30, and that could be the signal for another bull run here in APRE. Again, it should move up to wherever we had that at about 637, 640. That should be the price target for this inverted head and shoulders pattern. Let's see. We don't have. I need to find out this Takata ticker. Let's see. What is it? Takata Corp. It's literally. I don't know. Is this a private company? TKJP. There we go. No symbols. All right, I give up. Oh, here we go. TKTDQ. TKTDQ. Okay, this is going to go down as a mystery. TradingView might not have it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it. Let's see. We got a direct message, so maybe somebody else put it. Nope, that's Chris doing his stuff for the morning. Let's go back into this, and we'll check out small cap or mid cap by now. I think it's not looking very healthy at all. BLNK is not looking all that juicy right now. Let's look at BNGO, and this will probably be about the last one for today. It is holding up relatively well, trying to fight to get back to a bullish stance. It's down a little bit in pre-market, but nothing really serious going on here in BNGO. I do want to check one more while I'm checking stuff, because after this is breakfast and getting kids off to school. It's not doing anything at all. It's not really to be expected. It's got a low float. And that is probably going to be about a wrap. All right, everybody. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Jamie, I'll get ATER. We'll do that on the premium side on Discord. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We are going to be looking at doing another morning hunt next Monday. Next Monday, same time. Might actually bump the time back to about 6:30 and see if we can get a few more people in there and advertise a little bit harder than we did this one. Hopefully everybody has been, especially Gator Traders Premium members, hopefully if you are ready to weather the storm in this potential bear market that we have coming on. It could be just a correction. SPY could find some ground and take off running, but I'm not seeing that personally. I'm looking at the SPY as being on death row right now as far as market action goes. But we'll see. We'll see what happens over the next couple of days, next couple of candles, and it'll give us a better idea of what's going on. Same thing with the NDX, DJI, all your mega cap stocks. A lot of people's overall portfolios and 401ks will be reducing in value for the next couple of days, couple of weeks. Hopefully it doesn't hit anybody too hard. Don't want to wish any bad on anybody, even though I do have a bearish position against a lot of big names right now. I am thinking that this winter may be ushering in. If you read anything by Stan Weinstein, his book, How to Profit in Bull and Bear Markets, you'll know that there's a presidential cycle that he likes to follow, that the second year of every presidency is usually a pretty rough year in the stock market. It may have come earlier for Mr. Biden, so we shall see. As far as coronavirus and everything else goes, my house is clear. Hurricane recovery, we're doing okay. The area's coming back to life pretty quickly. We are forging ahead with new ideas on how to strengthen the bonds between the Money Vikings and Gator Traders. So I'm looking forward into getting into that. You'll see a lot of changes going on in the Discord. I'm going to be working pretty diligently on that today to get all of that stuff done before I go back to my regular work schedule. As I mentioned earlier, the blog will be returning. We'll be coming back to that blog, doing some blogging, and I'm going to kind of focus on technicals for a little while and start trying to find the bottoms on a lot of these things that you're going to want to be in at a discount. I mean, we're not talking about bottoms on highly volatile speculative stock like Microvision. I'm talking about bottoms on things like Apple and Microsoft and things of that nature. So I'm going to be working pretty hard to try to figure that out. With that said, I appreciate every one of you for tuning in. Thank you for your support of Gator Traders. Please hit that like and subscribe. Okay, we need to get this thing, this morning hunt, up and rolling big time. So hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because there's about to be a lot of stuff hitting YouTube publicly here soon for Gator Traders. Y'all have a great day, great week. Be safe, take care, and God bless.